Today's story is Cinderella. Cinderella, a kind and pretty girl, lived with her bad-hearted stepmother and two jealous sisters. Her stepmother and sisters bullied her every day and made her do all the housework. Cinderella, where are my shoes? Cinderella, where did you put my hairpins? Cinderella, you have to clean and also do the laundry. One day, a ball was held at the castle. So, her stepmother and her sisters wore pretty dresses and nice shoes. Cinderella was desperate to go to the ball. Please, take me to the ball too. But the stepmother said, No! You don't have any pretty dresses, and you don't have nice shoes either. She only took her sisters to the ball. Cinderella was crying because she was so sad. But suddenly, a fairy appeared. The fairy, the pumpkin, the mice, and the lizard cast a spell. Ta-da! The fairy snapped her wand. Then a carriage, a horse, and a horseman appeared. And Cinderella had a beautiful ball gown and glass shoes. You must be home before 12 at night, said the fairy. Cinderella went to the ball. The prince saw beautiful Cinderella. May I have this dance? The prince danced with Cinderella only. Then the clock chimed. Ding, ding, ding. The clock struck 12 o'clock. When she was running, she lost one of her glass shoes. Then the prince found the glass shoe, and his servants searched for its owner. Finally, they came to Cinderella's house. And the shoe fits her perfectly. Wow! The shoe fits! Cinderella went to the castle with the prince in her glass shoes. I have found you at last. Cinderella married the handsome prince, and they lived happily ever after. Today's story is Aladdin and the Magic Lamp. Once upon a time in a small village, there lived a boy named Aladdin. One day, a stranger came looking for Aladdin and said, I'm your uncle. If you help me, I will reward you with great wealth. However, in fact, the stranger was an evil sorcerer. Aladdin did not know this, so he decided to help the sorcerer. The sorcerer took Aladdin to a narrow hole led deep into the ground and said, Go down and bring me the lamp. You have to give it to me first, as soon as you find it. Aladdin went deep into the cave and found the lamp the sorcerer wanted, along with many jewels. I found the lamp! Hand me the lamp first, Aladdin! Let me out first! Then I'll give you the lamp! As Aladdin did not listen to him, the sorcerer got angry and blocked the way out. You'll never get out of there unless you give me the lamp first. But Aladdin didn't give him the lamp, and he was trapped deep inside the cave. Although he was frightened, he recalled the secret of the lamp that the sorcerer had mentioned. When he rubbed the lamp, a genie appeared. Master, what can I do for you? Take me back home! Once Aladdin made his wish, he made it back home safely. The genie did whatever Aladdin wanted. And Aladdin became wealthy. One day, when Aladdin was on his way home, he saw a stunning lady who was a princess. Oh, a truly beautiful princess. He fell in love with the princess. He couldn't stop thinking about her ever since. Aladdin went up to the princess's father and said, I love your daughter! Is there a way I can marry her? The king, however, didn't like Aladdin. The king told him, If you build a grand palace by tomorrow morning, I will allow you to marry the princess. Aladdin rubbed the magic lamp, and the genie from the lamp appeared. And the genie asked, Master, what can I do for you? Build a grand and magnificent palace for me by tomorrow morning, Aladdin said. The next morning, the king was amazed when he saw the palace. Absolutely astonishing, truly beautiful, and magnificent! The king was delighted and let Aladdin marry the princess. Later, the sorcerer heard about Aladdin and went to the palace, shouting, I'll exchange your old lamp for a new one! The princess didn't know the lamp was a magic lamp. So she gave it to the sorcerer. The sorcerer rubbed the lamp, released the genie, and took everything from Aladdin. Aladdin was shocked when he came back home from hunting. We must find the sorcerer as soon as possible! He went to find the sorcerer. Fortunately, the sorcerer was asleep. He walked up to the lamp very carefully and rubbed it to release the genie. Genie of the lamp, send the sorcerer deep down into the ground! Aladdin got back the magic lamp and the palace and lived happily ever after with the princess. Today's story is about Snow White. In a very beautiful palace, Snow White lived. Snow White was very, very beautiful. When Snow White was very young, her mom died. So, she lived with her stepmother, and her stepmother, the queen, had a very bad spirit. The queen had a magic mirror. And every day she would ask the magic mirror, "Oh, mirror, mirror, who is the most beautiful person in the world?"
That would be you, the queen.
When the mirror replied, the queen was delighted. Snow White grew more and more beautiful. Then the queen asked the magic mirror again, "Oh, mirror, mirror, who is the most beautiful person in the world?"
That would be Snow White,
replied the magic mirror. When the queen heard this, she was angry. So she called in the hunter. "You must take Snow White to the forest right away, and you must kill her secretly." But the hunter, who had a good heart, couldn't kill Snow White.
Snow White, you must run away now. The queen wants you dead.
Snow White ran far away and found a small cottage. Snow White went inside. There are 7 little plates and 7 little beds. I wonder who lives in this house. Snow White cleaned up and made dinner. Then fell asleep on one of the beds. At night, the 7 dwarfs came home.
"Someone is sleeping in our bed. Who are you?"
Snow White told her sad story. Then the dwarfs said, "Snow White, you live with us now." And they shed tears for Snow White together. So Snow White and the 7 dwarfs lived happily ever after. Then one day, the queen asked the magic mirror again, "Oh, mirror, mirror, who is the most beautiful person in the world?"
That would be Snow White, who lives in the forest,
replied the magic mirror. When the queen realized that Snow White was still alive, she was furious. "This time I'll get rid of her myself." The queen disguised herself as an old woman. She took a poisoned apple and went to where Snow White and the 7 dwarfs lived. When she saw Snow White, she spoke to her. "Oh, beautiful lady, this is a very tasty apple. Would you like to take a bite?" When Snow White took a bite of the apple, she collapsed. The 7 dwarfs came home and were very sad to see Snow White collapsed. Just then, the prince walked by and stopped.
"What's going on?"
"Snow White is dead," said the 7 dwarfs. The prince picked Snow White up in his arms and kissed her beautiful face. Just then, Snow White spat out the piece of apple stuck in her throat, and she came back to life. The 7 dwarfs were so happy. The handsome prince and Snow White got married and lived happily ever after.
Aliceballet.